Okay, guys, video number 3. What I thought was going to be a really simple how-to video has very quickly turned into a multi-part series. So, hey, welcome to YouTube, right? Welcome to my channel. I like to learn things and I like to teach what I learn. So I have taught these things locally at my library. I've taught them to friends, and now I'm going to try and teach it to you. So this is a live action how-to ferment with me kind of thing. So these are my first few videos. It's going to be a little rocky, it's going to be a little rough, but I hope that a couple people after this, after watching it, get the inspiration to make their own sauerkraut. I grew up hating the thought of sauerkraut. You know, I think of like the stinky stuff that they would serve at the school cafeteria. Once I started making and eating real kraut, I'm addicted. I love it. If you like pickles, if you like tangy, vinegary like things, you're probably going to like sauerkraut. There's probiotics, there's nutrients, it helps break down the food. It's delicious and it's good for you, so I say go for it. I make all different kinds. I make it plain, I make it with carrots, I put all kinds of stuff in it. Today, this is my carrot, purple cabbage, green cabbage, garlic, and dill batch. I forgot to go to the grocery store, so I did not get fresh dill. This is dill from my garden, some dill seed and dried dill. So I'm gonna give it one more good mix in. I'm gonna squeeze it up. I can see that there's liquid in the bottom of it. I'm gonna pull out some dill stems. My kraut might end up having some pokey dill things in it in the future, but hey, whatever. Just take it out when you eat it. I used to use shredded or chopped dill or dried dill. Now I like to get fresh dill either from my garden if it's in season or from the grocery store. And I really like to leave it whole and layer it because dill floats to the top. Little floaters are what creates mold, and so I just don't mess with it anymore. I just kind of end up with large dill pieces in my kraut that I pull out when I eat it. I can see liquid. Hopefully you can see that. There's liquid in the bottom of it. That's what we want to see. We want to see liquid. This is wet. It's great. It's mixed. So now we're going to get our bucket and we're just going to, hopefully maybe when I edit this I can speed all of this up. So because I didn't go to the grocery store, I don't have a cabbage leaf to throw on here, which is kind of unfortunate because it's a big container. There's going to be a lot of airspace, and normally you really want something to keep all this stuff down. This is not going to have a ton of brine over it, although it is juicing. You can see it. So with the bucket, you have to be a little more careful about mold and about ferment time. It can get kind of brown on top because it's oxidizing from the oxygen exposure. I think I'm just gonna go for it and use these original cabbage leaves from the cabbage head. They look pretty all right. I don't see any. They're just a little beat up from travel and whatnot. So try and get everything tucked in there. And then for this one, I'm gonna use this. It fits down in there really nice. Push real hard on it, and that kind of gives some push to the juice. And then I'm just gonna put the lid on, kind of maybe. Listen for that snap. I'm gonna have to do this on the floor. And Bam, we've got a Kraut bucket. I'll clean it up when I'm done. One down, one to go. Okay, last but not least, before my phone dies, we're gonna pack some jars. Another object you would like to have, a funnel. I'm dyed red from these beets. I'm gonna again give it a nice stir so everything gets nice and juicy. And then we're just gonna start filling it up. A few things that I did not say before, but my husband mentioned down below, well, in part 1, kraut, cabbage, this kind of stuff kind of smells like fart. So all day today, my house smelled like a big old fart. As this is fermenting and you're burping and it's off-gassing and it's juicing everywhere, your house might kind of smell like a fart. And that's just part of it. And honestly, when you open it to eat it, it might kind of smell like a fart. But I'm going to promise you, it's going to taste a lot better than a fart. Not that I've tasted a fart, but you know, you can imagine. So something like this is actually much easier than the bucket because you can really get down there and push and push and push. And you can see the juice oozing out as you do it. You know, I kind of am somebody that I don't really have a filter. You know, we're probably going to talk about all kinds of funky things on this page, on this channel. I'm kind of a jack of all trades. I got lots of things I'm interested in. This channel is probably going to be a wide variety of eclectic things. In a few days, I'm going to make a video processing my water kefir and making some water kefir, which is fun. You can see here, there's nice juice in there. That's the brine. Packing it down. I'm going to put just a little bit more in here, and then we're going to go with topping it. Like I said, I don't really have a lot of follower leaves, which kind of sucks. Another follower I didn't say in my materials video, like sometimes when you're doing liquid brines, you can't really put a cabbage leaf on top of it. So a lot of people will actually use narrow mouth jars in that situation and use like an onion or a carrot or something like that, and you can wedge it down in there and that kind of helps cover it. So what I'm doing is I'm taking this cabbage leaf, pushing it down in there, getting it nice and covered over the top. And when you're done, you can eat this too. Now, for this one, I'm actually probably going to go ahead and go with the little mason jar. See, I pushed that all the way down in there, and that's getting that juice all around the cabbage, covering it up. Really, you don't want bits floating around, but it's going to happen no matter what. As time goes on, you can kind of scoop those out as it ferments and bubbles. I'm going to go ahead and take my easy fermenter lid, put it on, bam, done. We're going to move over to this jar. I can't find my rubber seals, so I'm going to have to take one off of this. You can buy replacements on Amazon. Hopefully I can get all of this in one. I've been going back and watching the videos that I previously made, and I will tell you, I don't watch videos of myself very often. I kind of try not to. I don't know. I don't really, you know, we all have confidence issues. We all have insecurities. I've got my fair share of them, and I noticed that in my previous few videos, I kind of a lot, and that was annoying. So if it was annoying to you, I'm sorry. I'm going to pay more attention to those kinds of things. Like I said, I've never really done this. I've never really watched myself. I was sitting here wondering, do I do this in real life all the time? Because that's kind of annoying. But whatever. Life goes on. I'm actually going to have another jar's worth. So luckily I have lots and lots and lots of mason jars. If you become somebody that plays with fermenting a lot, plays in the kitchen a lot, I can I don't know, I can. So I have a lot of jars. So there's always enough to go around for whatever I need. We drink out of them. I put my herbs in them. I put food in them. I make my oatmeal in them, you know. I just love mason jars. So none of the things I'm advertising do I have any association with, you know. Maybe someday I'll be cool enough on here to get sponsorships and whatnot. These are just products and things that I've explored and I like. Many of them have many alternatives that you can find online. You don't have to buy what I recommend. So we've got this one pretty loaded. I'm gonna push it down, push it down, push it down. You can see it's very juicy. Beets are a wet vegetable and they've already got a lot of juice in them, so it's kind of nice when you make beets. They do produce a lot of juice, so that's a benefit of doing beets. Yeah, things that you might find on this channel going forward are more fermentation videos of different kinds, cooking how-tos, sourdough, canning, jam making, freezer meals, food prep. I'm going to say something in a second about my shirt. Those of you that know me already know this. We're going to bust out the pickle pipes, pebble pickles, whatever. There's another one called like pickle pipes or something. Okay, push it down. You can see, hopefully, that there's a lot of juice in this one. I didn't have that much juice in the previous one. But yeah, so those of you that know me already know this, but those of you that are going to find this channel and don't know me, I'm a stay-at-home mom. I do a lot of different things. I've been a waitress most of my life, honestly, but I love gardening and cooking and homesteading type stuff, you know, and I do all kinds of things. But one of the things I also do and have done for, I don't know, since 2007 is I make and run a tie-dye business. So you're probably going to see a lot of tie-dye, see me in tie-dye. I'll link my Facebook page down below. I'm always making tie-dye. I do custom pieces. You can check out my store. If you like my tie-dye, thank you. I made it. I'm pretty much done. I'm going to continue to do this last little batch. You can see my counter. It's looking a little bit messy, like I done butchered something on it. My hands are, you can use gloves, but I don't really like to. In the sourdough world, they've done some studies that actually show that the microbiome of your sourdough changes with your hands. And also, I didn't peel my carrots or my beets because that's where some of the natural yeast and bacteria are, and you kind of want that stuff. If I buy organic, so I purposely don't, you know, I buy that with the intentions of not having to peel it. If it's conventional, you might want to do that. That's a personal preference. I don't have hardly any left. There's just a little bit. I'm probably going to throw that in just a little mason jar and ferment it on the counter for a few days, and then that'll probably be what we start munching on. It's not going to have that real effervescent, tangy taste to it. Which brings me to a really good point. People ferment for different points of time or different amounts of time. Different ferments might only take a little bit, you know. Some you might only want to culture for 3, 4, 5 days. Tasting things as you go. Sometimes if you ferment things too long, they start tasting like crap. Lacto-fermented vegetables and stuff are one of those. But for sauerkraut, I like to let mine go 6 weeks or longer. A lot of times my stuff's going 3, 4 months and it's building flavor. The colonies of yeast and bacteria and the sciencey stuff that's going on inside changes throughout that whole period. So for health reasons, they recommend eating a wide variety of fermented foods at different ages. So, you know, exploring your ferments, trying them at 2 weeks, trying them at 7 days, trying them at, 4 weeks or whatever. Try them longer. Waiting is hard, and you really need to plan ahead, because when you get low on your kraut and then you're like, oh shoot, I need to make more, well shit, guess what, you're gonna have to wait a couple months. So I like to, you know, be making it as I'm running out, so that way when it comes time that I'm out, I have something to go back up on. Locally, there's a guy who sells handmade kraut in our area, so I really like his stuff. Bubby's is another brand of sauerkraut, and you know, you can go to the store and often find kraut. So when we run out, we get backups. I don't know what the brand is, but I found an awesome beet kraut at Whole Foods, which is what prompted me to want to make this kraut, because that container was about this big and it was like $12. And I invested in a couple heads of cabbage, couple beets, you know, $5, $8, I don't know. And now I've got basically a gallon of sauerkraut. So it's cost effective, way more than going and buying, you know, the guy locally, totally worth it, but he sells a pint mason jar for $12. You know, that's pretty pricey if you're eating it all the time. So, you know, if you want to see certain videos, I know a lot of stuff, and I'm going to just be winging it and sharing stuff. So like I said, in a few days, I'm working on some water kefir right now, which is a probiotic fermented effervescent drink made from little gelatinous globules of colonies of yeast and bacteria called a SCOBY, but they call them grains for kefir. And then you can ferment that into like an effervescent soda replacement. So that's what I'm going to be doing in a couple days. I'll make a little video of that. And then I'm working on some tie-dye stuff right now. I'll probably do a couple videos with that, show you my setup, maybe dye something for you guys. But it'll be a while before I'm canning, but eventually I'll put some canning videos out. This all pretty much started because I have a lot of people locally who, I keep touching my face and getting beets on me. I have a lot of people locally who know I do these things, and they know I teach these things, and they often say, oh man, can you teach me how to do this? Or, you know, you should teach how to do this. And so I do that some locally, but I'm trying to explore a wider audience. If you have any tips for a new YouTuber, a new content creator, I would love to hear those things. Any advice, any feedback, you know, I'm here to listen, and I'm here to have fun with making stuff for you guys to watch. So I would like to know what you'd like to see. Thank you so much. I'll see you next time. So I thought of something else, and hopefully I figure out how to edit all this stuff. But because as the kraut ferments, it's going to start to activate and bubble, and it can spew over, which one of the reasons why I give a decent amount of headspace, but you don't want too much headspace, because that is oxygen, and oxygen encourages mold. But so I usually set my stuff on a tray. I love these little cafeteria trays. I use them for all kinds of stuff. I love to chop on them because it's got the rim. Or I use a cookie sheet. So I did learn a while back, because I got lazy, cover your cookie sheet with something, because the stuff is kind of acidic, and it definitely messed my cookie sheet up. So you can use, I use Tupperware dishes, bowls, really anything. It kind of depends on how much you're doing. I usually make large batches, so I have multiple containers. So something like a tray or a cookie sheet is nice, because then I can just move everything around. If you just have a few little jars that you're doing, just put it in like a sandwich, Tupperware, or any kind of container that's going to prevent juices from getting everywhere. Depending on the type of lid you have, you might need to burp. They call it burping your kraut, and it does kind of smell farty, so just beware. That lets it off gas, and the gases escape, and you will see as it starts to ferment little bubbles, and when you burp it, it'll, bubbles will come up, and that's what you want. That means that it's working. That means that the bacteria in it it's basically, I'm not a scientist. I've over the years looked into this. don't quote me, do your own research, but it's basically the bacteria eating the sugars and the goodness. I think it's mainly sugars and the vegetables, and then they're off gassing, aka farting, stuff out. So there's acids, there's probiotics, there's all kinds of beneficial stuff. If you're into the science, there's some really cool detailed information online about the science of what's actually happening in fermented foods and the different stages, because it does change. Like as the sugar content goes down and as the oxygen content goes down, certain types of bacteria will die off and new ones will come. And so it's kind of an ever-changing environment. Explore that, you know. I have over the years, but I don't remember it. I kind of look back on it sometimes. But if that's something that interests you and you really want to know, like, what's really happening inside these jars and in your ferments, there's some really great information online. So, yeah, I think that's it, hopefully. Thanks, guys. Bye. So it's blooper time. This is what happens when you don't sit your stuff on a tray. You wake up in the morning and it is juicing all over. Yay for sauerkraut.